I was on my first cross-country road trip, traveling alone in my new Lexus. It was the third day on the road, so I was somewhere in South Dakota on a desolate stretch of I-90. I had been delayed a couple hours due to heavy traffic, so it was the middle of the night, and I was still 50 miles from the hotel I booked. Even worse, I was running on fumes. I had neglected to get gas until it was basically too late, to the point that all the gas stations I was passing were closed. I was almost forced to camp out in my car at a gas pump for the night, but then I finally saw a station with their lights on. I pulled off the road and approached this lonely gas station that to me was my glowing salvation. Of course, when I tried to pay at the pump, it told me to see the cashier. I figured going in would only be a minor inconvenience, but that all went out the window when I saw the cashier. He was this greasy, unkempt creep who looked way too happy to see a woman walking through the door. When he smiled, he revealed horrid plaques on his teeth, and when he opened his mouth to say hello, I could smell his breath. I can still remember what it was like. Dry mouth, rotten sugar breath, and tonsil stones. Before I could say anything, he said, "What's a lady doing traveling alone in the long, dark night?" I immediately replied that my boyfriend was with me, but he said he knew I was lying because no man would ever send his woman to go pay for anything. He was trying to act like this sophisticated, cunning charmer, but it wasn't working in the slightest. I tried to brush it off and say I needed gas at pump 1. The cashier replied saying he was going to pump 1 later while glancing down at my chest. I told him to cut it out, that it wasn't funny and that it wasn't going to work. Then I repeated myself about needing gas. This creep just kept going though, telling me that I must be tired and should settle in for the night, suggesting I stay with him, which I flat out rejected. I was trying to be nice, but it was taking everything in me not to go off on him. The only reason I kept my cool was because I was alone with him, probably for miles. Finally, though, I was able to get him to go through with the transaction. Then I walked out the door, ignoring whatever he said as I left. Back at my car at last and pumping gas, thanking the stars that I was out of that store, I suddenly got hit with the extreme need to pee. That sort of thing had been happening to me a lot on the road, where I forget about peeing and don't notice until it's suddenly an emergency.